Some Anti-War Poems. Chapter 1. Anti-War Poetry 1. The Hero by Siegfried Sassoon. Jack fell as he'd have wished, the mother said, and folded up the letter that she'd read. The Colonel writes so nicely. Something broke in the tired voice that quavered to a choke. She half looked up. We mothers are so proud of our dead soldiers. Then her face was bowed. Quietly the brother officer went out. He'd told the poor old dear some gallant lies, that she would nourish all her days, no doubt. For while he coughed and mumbled, her weak eyes had shone with gentle triumph, brimmed with joy. Because he'd been so brave, her glorious boy. He thought how Jack, cold-footed, useless swine, had panicked down the trench that night the mine went up at Wicked Corner, how he'd tried to get sent home, and how, at last, he died, blown to small bits. And no one seemed to care, except that lonely woman with white hair. The Charge of the Light Brigade by Alfred Tennyson. Half a league, half a league, half a league onward, all in the valley of death, rode the 600. Forward the Light Brigade. Charge for the guns, he said. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Forward, the Light Brigade. Was there a man dismayed? Not though the soldier knew someone had blundered. There's not to make reply. There's not to reason why. There's but to do and die. Into the valley of death rode the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon in front of them. Volley D and thunder D. Storm D at with shot and shell. Boldly they rode and well. Into the jaws of death, into the mouth of hell, rode the 600. Flash D all their sabres bare. Flash D as they turn D in air. Sabering the gunners there. Charging an army, while all the world wondered. Plunged in the battery smoke. Right through the line they broke. Cossack and Russian. Reel D from the sabre stroke. Shatter D and sunder D. Then they rode back, but not the 600. Cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them, cannon behind them. Volley D and thunder D. Storm D at with shot and shell. While horse and hero fell, they that had fought so well came through the jaws of death, back from the mouth of hell. All that was left of them, left of 600. When can their glory fade? Oh, the wild charge they made! All the world wondered. Honor the charge they made. Honor the Light Brigade. Noble 600. An Irish airman foresees his death by William Butler Yeats. I know that I shall meet my fate somewhere among the clouds above. Those that I fight I do not hate. Those that I guard I do not love. My country is Kiltartan Cross. My countrymen Kiltartans poor. No likely end could bring them loss, or leave them happier than before. Nor law, nor duty bade me fight, nor public men, nor cheering crowds. A lonely impulse of delight drove to this tumult in the clouds. I balanced all, brought all to mind. The years to come seemed waste of breath. A waste of breath the years behind. In balance with this life, this death. Suicide in the Trenches by Siegfried Sassoon. I knew a simple soldier boy who grinned at life in empty joy. Slept soundly through the lonesome dark, and whistled early with the lark. In winter trenches, cowed and glum, with crumps and lice and lack of rum, he put a bullet through his brain. No one spoke of him again. You smug-faced crowds with kindling eye, who cheer when soldier lads march by, sneak home and pray you'll never know the hell where youth and laughter go. The man he killed by Thomas Hardy, had he and I but met by some old ancient inn, we should have set us down to wet right many a nipperkin. But ranged as infantry, and staring face to face, I shot at him as he at me. And killed him in his place. I shot him dead because he was my foe. Just so, my foe of course he was. That's clear enough, although he thought he'd list, perhaps. Offhand, like just as I was out of work, had sold his traps. No other reason why. Yes, quaint and curious war is. You shoot a fellow down. You'd treat, if met where any bar is. Or help to half a crown. Does it matter? By Siegfried Sassoon. Does it matter, losing your leg? For people will always be kind. And you need not show that you mind. When the others come in after hunting, to gobble their muffins and eggs. Does it matter, losing your sight? There's such splendid work for the blind. And people will always be kind. As you sit on the terrace remembering, and turning your face to the light. Do they matter, those dreams from the pit? You can drink and forget and be glad. And people won't say that you're mad. For they'll know that you've fought for your country. And no one will worry a bit. Chapter 2. Anti-War Poetry 2. A Mother's Tear by Amy Peterson. There's more to the story than what just appears. A war-ridden story. From blood and from tears. My son went to war. A very proud man. He fought in Iraq. On the hot desert sands. He witnessed his buddies, his comrades, his men, bleeding and dying. He witnessed their end. Where is PVT? Tommy? He's blown up all around. His comrades spent hours picking him from the ground, sleeping in holes dug in the sand, dreaming of home. But it's become foreign land. He can't tell his enemy from family or foe. As he watches his friends sent out with tags on their toe, he knows his mama is sleepless like him, and he tries to send word whenever he can. He tries not to worry his family at home. The horror that he faces alone. His mission is over. He's sent back to me. He fought for our freedom. But he'll never be free. He yearns for his buddies that died over there. He's caught with the living in a doubled loop snare. He screams in the night, for the battle still roars. As he lays in his bed, he relives all the horror. Nobody heard the fight. He still fights, except for his mama, who comforts him every night. He never will be the son I once knew. The war killed that part. For freedom, for you. Great nation, great leaders. And all those who will hear. Freedom began on a mother's first tear. Words not spoken by Beatrice Boyle. Although he could not say with words the love he felt inside. He treasured every moment. And his heart would fill with pride. He never said I love you. But he came to every game. Even in defeat, his son knew he loved him just the same. He'd pat him on the head. Or maybe ruffle his hair. And tell him he was proud of him. As long as he played fair. When he graduated college, I love you wasn't said. He smiled as he shook his hand, mumbling, well done, my boy instead. When his son went to war, he trembled as he spoke. And brushing away the tears, he made a little joke. Now, his son's come home. And he stands with eyes downcast. His hands stroking the coffin. Saying I love you son at last. Defeat by Michael Prochaska. Blood starts drippin' from the soldier's wound. Seeps like sewage neath the politician's room. Deep in the house, white fades to red. And the freedom we're fighting for seems to be dead. 'Cause we can't win like he once said. No, we can't triumph over the hate in our enemy's head. But we're deep in mud over the bullshit we've been fed. While more and more soldiers awake in heaven's bed. The wind is blowing like a hurricane. In the frightening desolated lands. where the wolves are insane, and hawks feast on bloody hands. Bullets flying, children dying, mothers crying, while the beasts are lying and hiding behind black curtains that no one's finding. But God knows the truth, and He's forevermore sighing. Too many hands washed in widows' tears. Too many echoed gunshots ringing in ears. Too many hearts frozen numb from fears of hope too distant, like skylight chandeliers. Wounded souls soaked in blotched black fate. Disillusioned by dark demons' fate. Persistent nightmares of woebegone escape. Screeching fervently under liberty's gate. I grasp the rope fabric with delicate care. Neck tickling from its bristly hair. My chapped, dry lips whisper a final prayer. Before a tightening ravish pain permeates the air. A bright radiant flash scorches the cloudless horizon. And ashes drift upward, caressing my bare, dangling feet. Bleak, barren, biting malice below seems blazon. But the dead know not the sentiment of defeat. Chapter 3. Anti-War Poetry 3. Disabled by Wilfred Owen. He sat in a wheeled chair, waiting for dark. And shivered in his ghastly suit of grey. Legless, sewn short at elbow. Through the park. Voices of boys rang saddening like a hymn. Insensibility by Wilfred Owen. Happy the soldier home, with not a notion how somewhere, every dawn, some men attack. And many sighs are drained. Happy the lad whose mind was never trained. First they came by Pastor Martin Niemöller. First they came for the communists. And I did not speak out. Because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. The Soldier by Rupert Brooke. If I should die, think only this of me. That there's some corner of a foreign field. That is forever England. There shall be. In that rich earth a richer dust concealed. Anthem for Doomed Youth by Wilfred Owen. What passing bells for these who die as cattle. Only the monstrous anger of the guns. Only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle. Can patter out their hasty orisons. Lochinvar by Sir Walter Scott. I, too, saw God through mud. The mud that cracked on cheeks when wretches smiled. War brought more glory to their eyes than blood. And gave their laughs more glee than shakes a child. Dulce et decorum est by Wilfred Owen. Bent double, like old beggars under sacks. Knock-kneed, coughing like hags, we cursed through sludge. Till on the haunting flares we turned our backs. And towards our distant rest began to trudge. Men marched asleep. Many had lost their boots. But limped on, bloodshot. All went lame, all blind. Drunk with fatigue, deaf even to the hoots of tired, outstripped 5-9s that dropped behind. Gas! Gas! Quick, boys, an ecstasy of fumbling. Fitting the clumsy helmets just in time. But someone still was yelling out and stumbling. And floundering like a man in fire or lime. Dim, through the misty panes and thick green light. As under a green sea, I saw him drowning. In all my dreams, before my helpless sight. He plunges at me, guttering, choking, drowning. If in some smothering dreams you too could pace behind the wagon that we flung him in. And watch the white eyes writhing in his face. His hanging face, like a devil sick of sin. If you could hear, at every jolt, the blood come gargling from the froth-corrupted lungs. Obscene as cancer, bitter as the cud of vile, incurable sores on innocent tongues. My friend, you would not tell with such high zest. To children ardent for some desperate glory. The old lie, dulce et decorum est. Pro Patria Mori. Chapter 4. Anti-War Poetry 4. Joining the Colors by Catherine Tynan. There they go marching all in step so gay. Smooth-cheeked and golden, food for shells and guns. Blithely they go as to a wedding day. The mother's sons. The drab street stares to see them row on row. On the high tram tops, singing like the lark. Too careless gay for courage, singing they go. Into the dark. With tin whistles, mouth organs, any noise. They pipe the way to glory and the grave. Foolish and young, the gay and golden boys. Love cannot save. High heart. High courage. The poor girls they kissed. Run with them, they shall kiss no more, alas. Out of the mist they stepped into the mist. Singing they pass. Strange meeting by Wilfred Owen. It seemed that out of battle I escaped. Down some profound dull tunnel, long since scooped. Through granites which titanic wars had groined. Yet also their encumbered sleepers groaned. Too fast in thought or death to be bestirred. Then, as I probed them, one sprang up, and stared. With piteous recognition in fixed eyes. Lifting distressful hands, as if to bless. And by his smile, I knew that sullen hall. By his dead smile I knew we stood in hell. With 1,000 fears that vision's face was grained. Yet no blood reached there from the upper ground. And no guns thumped, or down the flues made moan. Strange friend, I said, here is no cause to mourn. None, said that other, save the undone years. The hopelessness. Whatever hope is yours. Was my life also, I went hunting wild. After the wildest beauty in the world. Which lies not calm in eyes, or braided hair. But mocks the steady running of the hour. And if it grieves, grieves richlier than here. For by my glee might many men have laughed. And of my weeping something had been left. Which must die now. I mean the truth untold. The pity of war, the pity war distilled. Now men will go content with what we spoiled. Or, discontent, boil bloody, and be spilled. They will be swift with swiftness of the tigress. None will break ranks, though nations trek from progress. Courage was mine, and I had mystery. Wisdom was mine, and I had mastery. To miss the march of this retreating world. Into vain citadels that are not walled. Then, when much blood had clogged their chariot wheels, I would go up and wash them from sweet wells. Even with truths that lie too deep for taint. I would have poured my spirit without stint. But not through wounds, not on the cess of war. Foreheads of men have bled where no wounds were. I am the enemy you killed, my friend. I knew you in this dark, for so you frowned. Yesterday through me as you jabbed and killed. I parried, but my hands were loath and cold. Let us sleep now. Easter, 1916 by William Butler Yeats. I have met them at close of day. Coming with vivid faces. From counter or desk among grey 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head. Or polite meaningless words. Or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words. And thought before I had done. Of a mocking tale or a jibe. To please a companion. Around the fire at the club. Being certain that they and I. But lived where motley is worn. All changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent. In ignorant goodwill. Her nights in argument. Until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than hers? When, young and beautiful, she rode to harriers. This man had kept a school. And rode our winged horse. This other his helper and friend. Was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end. So sensitive his nature seemed. So daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed. A drunken, vainglorious lout. He had done most bitter wrong. To some who are near my heart. Yet I number him in the song. He, too, has resigned his part. In the casual comedy. He, too, has been changed in his turn. transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Hearts with one purpose alone. Through summer and winter seem enchanted to a stone. To trouble the living stream. The horse that comes from the road. The rider, the birds that range. From cloud to tumbling cloud. Minute by minute they change. A shadow of cloud on the stream changes minute by minute. A horse hoof slides on the brim. And a horse plashes within it. The long-legged moorhens dive. And hens to moorcocks call. Minute by minute they live. The stones in the midst of all. Too long a sacrifice. Can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when may it suffice? That is heaven's part, our part. To murmur name upon name. As a mother names her child. When sleep at last has come. On limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, no, not night but death. Was it needless death after all? For England may keep faith. For all that is done and said. We know their dream, enough. To know they dreamed and are dead. And what if excess of love bewildered them till they died? I write it out in a verse. Macdonough and McBride. And Connolly and Pierce. Now and in time to be. Wherever green is worn. Are changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Bomb sung by James Brown. They taught us what to do if there's a bomb. A big bomb. A bomb they removed in a biopsy on a god. A big god. Scooped it out in armfuls from the body of a god. My God, the blood hanging on the tresses where the species operated, they taught us what to do if there's a bomb. No point working out who it came from. 'Cause wherever it came from is gone. They taught us what to do if there's a bomb. A big bomb. Get the rubber round your face. Then you radio the base. Lie down on the ground. While your pants get browned. Are you closer to the cloud? Or the sound that pounds like a house shutting down? My God, who lives to see me live a life as terrible as this, my God? Get drenched in the fear. Too thirsty to tear. Up your ears disappear. And the skies won't be clear for a long time. Peek up through your goggles for the last time. That's it, soldier, step up and take your prize. And pray that you don't get vaporized. My eyes? My eyes? Can't remember if my mom had me baptized. I swore I'd rather die, the great evac in the sky, but would I? I want to live, but not like that, with my tissue-pissing body like a sieve. To live is terrible. It's terrible, man, to survive. And you feel like you did when you were 5. Tummy hurts, full of earth, where the hell is the earth? I'm rising from the ash like an afterbirth. In the mist, missing what used to be. The mist is made of my mother and it's killing me. What was it they told us, soldiers? What was it they told us, sold us, soldiers? They said survive to fight. My lungs are always tight. They said survive to fight. There's never any light. Survive to fight. Before I wasn't brave enough, but now I just might. Survive to fight. Give her arm a bite. Survive to fight. Keep the squad white. They started this mess, it's what's best, it's what's. Survive to fight. Not for what you need. Not for what is right. Not for what your dad said when you woke him late at night, but what's left. In the unlikely event that there's a bomb. We fight for what little is left, not right. And left, right, left. Right, left, right. In the unlikely event that there's a bomb. In the unlikely event that there's a bomb. In the unlikely event that there's a bomb. Anti-war correspondent by Agona Apple. At the start of the next war. While the headlines scream war, war, war. Go fit a lens to your gun's barrel. And a reel of film in its magazine. It would be a better war, don't you agree? If all the innocents soon to face your gun froze in a pose, anticipating the shots to come. Shots of them, I mean. Not shots at them. When the order comes to open fire. That'll be the time to peer through your gun sight. Ready to take to the field of battle. And go clicking away. At the follies of men in war. The corporate vultures circling above. And all the lies, lies, lies about the war. For where blood spills, there truth must spill too. But oft in war, it's the pills we get to cloud our eyes and dim our minds. Then, perhaps, we'll someday learn why our boys and girls who march forth to war never do really as of old return. The heroes of 1,000 battles retreat to 1,000 bottles. At the doctors and the barmans, who we call survivors, and whom we call casualties, their fates ultimately come equal. One falls in the battlefield, the other in the battlefield. But fall they all do, O Lord. I am an anti-war creature by Zine Hajra. War is no more like before. War is all that politicians adore. War is hate, blood, and death we abhor. War is erasing Earth's core. War is closing life's door. War kills innocence that you ignore. War is widening the gap between the four. The East, the West, the South, and the North. War will just devour our entire civilization store. You, warriors, what do you explore? Your humanity and manhood I implore. You are throwing seas offshore. War murdered children then tore their parents under their eyes on the floor. Would you, please, tell me what's the score?